Hello and welcome to the Bear Den Pod, part of the 1012 Podcast Network and partners with Sports Social Podcast Network. I'm Matt Workman. I'm joined as always by Joe Goodman. You can follow both of us on Twitter at the Bear Den Pod and the beardenpod.com. Joe, how are you doing today?
Been a long, busy but productive week, and I'm tired, Matthew. I'm ready for a vacation or something, dude.
Given that time of year, it's given that time of year for sure. So I wanted to start off today with a question that or a couple of questions, but one I got from, I guess it was from, I got it from the ODB Discord. I guess it came from Twitter, from some random college football website. I want to give them proper credibility, but I can't find it. Anyway, so the question was, who is the best or greatest college football player from your hometown? And I'm from a very small hometown in rural Central Texas, like West Central Texas, called San Saba. And the best player from my hometown is named Dean Bagley, and he graduated in 1938. But he is a member of the Texas Football Hall of Fame. He's in the TCU Hall of Fame as well. I'm just reading you a little snippet from Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Known as a little giant, one sports writer claimed he couldn't weigh 150 pounds soaking wet with a pecan in each pocket. San Saba is also the pecan capital of the world. Bagley was a big star at San Saba, mixing touchdown passes with dazzling runs. He led the nation in scoring with 269 points as a junior in 1937, earning All-State and All-American recognition. His sensational season was enough to impress radio host Robert Ripley, who invited the player to appear on Ripley's Believe It or Not program in New York. Following high school, Bagley continued his football career at TCU. In 1941, he lifted the Horned Frogs to one of their biggest upset victories in years, motoring for a 70-yard touchdown to spark a 14-7 win over Texas. So there you go. Dean Bagley, hats off to you.
Well, yeah, that's a deep cut right there, Matt. Yeah, I'm from Katy,
You have
Texas.
much more to choose from.
Um, to be honest with you though, like Katy is a football factory, like town.
Exactly.
Like Katy
Yeah.
High School
Then
wins
you have
state
like
championships like crazy.
you also have like a TCU alum
Yes.
you could have
But
picked
here's
from.
here's the caveat to that, Matt, is Katy produces like tons of like highly successful football teams. They don't actually produce that many, like for how good we are as a football town, um, and how many schools we have at this point. Like they don't actually produce all that many like huge name college players. But yes, Katy High School did produce Andy Dalton.
Yep.
He lost in the state championship to South Lake Carroll in his senior year. Um, but yes, Andy Dalton, who all went on to play for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys. Um, current Alabama player Jalen Milrow, very, 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 very good player. He's from Katy. Connor Galvin, if we want to get into it for the Baylor folks out there, former offensive lineman who I think is on the Lions now in the NFL.
I
He
don't
he
know.
went to he's from Katy. Um, Daniil Hunter, current Texans defensive end, former Minnesota Vikings defensive end. He went to Morton Ranch High School here in Katy. So yeah, there's a lot of folks I could pick from where I'm from. And then
But
I mean, if we
who's
really
the
want to get
best
into
though?
it,
Who's
like
the
if
best college
technically
football
I was
player?
born in Houston, so if it's like where I was born, like I don't know, Vince Young.
I don't know, man. There's got to be more. I mean, Vince Young's great, and he was absolutely
I
a
mean, Vince
great
Young's one
college
of
football
the like
player.
I
But there has to be
hate the
more from
University of Texas,
Houston,
but Vince Young's one of the top five greatest college football players of all time, probably.
for sure.
Like, I don't know if anybody from Houston is like better. Like if Adrian Peterson's from Palestine, so I can't claim him. Yeah, that's East
Is it
Texas.
Palestine? Is it Palestine?
Yeah. whatever. I've always called it Palestine.
Okay.
Used to go to church camp in Palestine. I'm trying to think of like the
But that's not
greatest
really
players.
Houston. That's like
No, it's
East
not at all.
Texas.
No, I'm just like naming the players that I would say like I would say this guy's better than Vince Young. I would pick Adrian Peterson. And I'm trying to think of guys from Texas. Like, where's Ricky from?
He's from like California.
Is he okay?
Yeah. Like San Diego. Or maybe I don't know. He's from California. I don't know exactly where. Uh
Well, now I need to know. Now I need to know, Matt. San Diego, you are correct.
okay. What I thought. But I wasn't quite sure. Um Yeah, that's whenever I was thinking about this question, I was thinking about your answers. I thought Houston. I thought, well, Vince Young. That's first for me. That's what pops in my head. Houston Madison. I remember seeing his like highlights from high school and knew he was going to Texas. And even in high school, like he was,
Oh, dude, everybody in the city knew who he was when he
he was
here.
like,
Everybody knew who he was here.
yeah. So it's like that's the first thing. Now, even like if you want to drill down to Katy, like who's the best? Would you say is the best college football player from Katy? Is it Andy
It's
Dalton?
it's probably yeah. Andy Dalton's
I
the
mean,
most
in
successful
college,
for
in
sure.
college,
Yeah,
because then he
for
wasn't he the
sure. I mean, he
quarterback
won a
for
Rose Bowl.
like, yeah, I was about to say, wasn't he the like undefeated quarterback?
Yeah, he won
Won
a
the
Rose Bowl.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It has to be Andy Dalton. Went on to a relatively successful NFL career. Started for the Bengals,
I mean, the
bounced
dude's a
around.
multimillionaire. Went to the playoffs multiple times. Yeah, I mean, there's he's not a Hall of Fame player. He's not like a championship level player. But like,
No,
yeah,
no,
I mean,
no.
the dude's very much a successful NFL football
You
player.
know who's the best? My favorite NFL quarterback from the state of Texas is Chase Daniel.
Oh, dude, yeah, collect a paycheck, do no
Dude,
work.
he is just working the NFL.
Yeah, he just hangs out. He just hung out in New Orleans forever.
Yeah, behind Drew Brees. Knew I'm never going to play. And if I do, I can manage offense. But
Nobody
like,
expects me to do
no
anything.
expects me to do anything. But
I just have to hold this clipboard and look good.
yeah. And he played. Is he still playing? No, he's not still playing. Yeah, he retired. He retired last year.
Yeah,
That is wild. He has like he
probably
has,
made $20 million
he has
in
like
his
almost
career.
has like a 20-year career.
Let's see.
His
How
first season
much
was like,
did Chase Daniel make in his career?
I'm sure he
Let's
made like,
find out how much money he got to hold a clipboard. $41.8 million in his 14-year career. Started 5
yeah,
games.
yeah, because that's the thing. Like you think about it, like the longer you're in, that league minimum becomes higher and higher. So like, even if you're signing like a 1 year, you're probably signing a 1 year like $5 million deal.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he made $41.8 million. Go Chase Daniel. I'm
Go
proud of you,
Chase
dude.
Daniel. Way to
Way to
go.
go.
Talk about South Lake. He's a former South
Yeah,
Lake
there you
Carroll
go.
Dragon. So there you go. He may have beaten Andy Dalton. In fact,
Did he beat who beat Andy Dalton?
because he was
That
in
was
high
what
school from '05 to '08.
2005.
2000, yeah, he was in, I'm sorry, he was in college from '05 to '08. So he graduated in like '04 probably.
Yeah, I think Chase Daniel was the quarterback after, but there was the South Lake quarterback that year was
They had a run of them
yeah, they had a
during that
run
run where
of
they were winning state
quarterbacks.
championships.
That would have been the D2 state or 5A D2, I think is what that would have been. Yeah, 5A Division 2, South Lake Carroll. Uh,
Oh man,
that
Greg
was
McElroy played South Lake Carroll.
it might have been McElroy. Actually, now that you say that, I think
Is-
it was Greg McElroy.
Yeah, I think he was before Chase.
I think you are correct. Oh, I'm going to
Yeah.
an archived Lone Star Preps page for
Oh,
2005.
I'm gonna archive like 247 recruiting profile from
Yeah,
Greg
this
McElroy.
is great podcast content right here.
I don't know. He committed in '06 to
Yep,
Alabama.
Greg McElroy, senior quarterback on that team. Yep, it was.
All right. There you go.
That is 100%.
And he is a as horrible sports takes right now on like ESPN. So way to go, Greg. Keeping it going. I had another question to ask you. This is football related, but I've seen this on
Football related.
social media and sports sites. So have you heard of the comments from like Austin Rivers this week?
No.
Okay, so he went on Pat McAfee show, I believe, and he said there was 30 NBA players who could play in the NFL. There aren't 30 NFL players who could play NBA.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah, I
wonder,
mean, he's right that there's not 30 NFL players that play in
he's
the
right.
NBA right now, probably.
I'm thinking, but there aren't 30. Now, I mean, it depends on like what you mean by that. Like, I don't know if there's 30 NBA players who,
What does that mean? Could make an NFL
I
roster?
mean, you say you have the numbers that like you look like an NFL player, absolutely. But I don't know if you're gonna want to get hit like you get
Well, and
hit
they're
in the
also
NFL.
a lot more lean.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
mean
think
they're
it's
not
kind of
near.
it's kind of a ridiculous statement. They're two different sports. It's like I've seen my friends that like are like big into soccer get
Also,
into these arguments about
NBA
it's like
players,
who's the greatest athletes in the world? The answer is hockey players.
but also it's like this. It's like you're right about this. NBA players are also all of them are so tall. What position are you gonna play? Especially at their weight. Even lean, they're still, if you're like 6'9", 6'10",
Yeah, but I mean, there's plenty of dudes out
who
there.
you
Like I think the
yeah, but you
thought
have
would
to
be
put
they would
on
play
like
receiver, probably play receiver.
there's no 6'10" guys gonna play receiver.
Yeah, but there's a lot of dudes in the NBA. They're like 6'6".
Well, yeah,
There's
but you
tons
have
of
to put on
receivers that
some
are six
weight.
five, 6'6".
No, yeah, for sure. But
I mean, LeBron's what 6'6",
no, LeBron's like 6'8".
6'7". But
He's
I
probably
mean,
closer to 6'9" than six
I
eight.
could see LeBron playing tight end.
LeBron could play tight end, but he played football in high school. You have with NBA, I think a lot of the NBA guys, you do have, they're specialized.
I mean, I also think I get where the point is coming from in this too. Like, because like look at Jimmy Graham, look at Antonio
True.
Gates.
I think on the opposite side, I agree that there's not a lot of NFL guys who can play NBA, like make an NBA team. Like I don't. I mean, there's like a handful because it's a different skill set.
Well, did you see this may have been born out of like so Michael Parsons and CJ Stroud right now are on this like
There's
buddy
nothing.
cop
There's
tour of
nothing I love
Japan.
more
Have you seen this stuff?
there's nothing I love more than the CJ Micah, like anything they do.
Yeah.
It's always funny. It's always good.
So the other day they were on like a podcast or something, and somebody asked them um how many points they could score in an NBA game. It may have been in reply to this. And Micah was like, "Oh, I think he was like, I'll drop a double double or something like easy." Like he was like, "Oh, I could in a heartbeat. Yeah,
I
I could do
believe
it."
him. I believe him I
And
believe Michael Parsons though.
and and what was funny is CJ Stroud, who like was a legit badass high school basketball player. Like CJ Stroud could have played college basketball if he wanted to. Like, dude was like record setter as high school, hardcore scorer, and he was like, "Nah, dude, 2 points, maybe 2 points." Like, I don't think you understand like how good NBA players are. No,
I think.
maybe 2 points.
I mean, the reason I say I believe Micah
There's
is
no
because
way
like
Michael Parsons is scoring a double double in an
maybe
NBA
not a
game.
double double, but
No way.
I think he could
Not a
figure it
chance.
out. He could figure it out.
No, he couldn't.
He's that
He
type of
does
guy.
not. Do you how
He's
good
that
of a
type of guy.
ball handler you have to be in the NBA?
No, I mean I don't think he could like do a double double, but I think he'd figure it out to
He
play.
would get everything unless he was just catching and shooting. Like the moment he had to put the ball on the floor, he would get the ball stolen in a
So
heartbeat.
what's Micah like 6'4"?
Yeah, Parsons is
Probably like
probably like
240,
6'4".
240 probably.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's not
like
tall enough to
maybe
be.
he
He's
could
not tall enough
post
to be
up,
a.
but again, like
Maybe he's
he's gonna be
strong
posting up
though.
against dudes that are way taller than him.
Man, I saw him. I saw him wrestle that sumo guy. He figures it out. He got handled
Sumo
the first.
wrestling is
He
different than
got
the
he got
NBA.
handled the first time, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna
And that
figure."
sumo wrestler handled him.
Yeah, and then this next time he did it, he held his own because he goes, "Okay, I kind of figured it out." I think
Yeah, but
he's
there
such a
was a
good
big
athlete.
difference there, Matt.
He's such a good
The sumo
athlete.
wrestler handled him, and then
Bro,
Micah held his own.
here's
It was
also a
like,
thing you forget: football players, and I'll go on the record saying this. They're so much faster than NBA players. NBA players don't run fast. Micah Parsons runs like a 4.340 at 240.
it depends on the NBA player. Like Russell Westbrook's plenty fast, or was. I
Jokic
think
just won
most
his
guards in
third.
the NBA.
His Nikola Jokic just won his third MVP. He probably runs a 6.240.
Well, yeah, he's a center, Matt.
I'm
Like
with
how
you,
many
Micah.
right tackles are running? Like Nikola Jokic is like a
Nikola
comparable.
Jokic is slower than every right tackle in NFL.
Correct, and he's also drastically taller than them.
Yeah, I mean that you could, but they would. A lot of the NBA players have to put on a bunch of weight to play like offensive line.
But here's the other thing: is Nikola Jokic also is probably more nimble than every single and more agile than every single NFL offensive lineman.
Oh, he'd be a great
Like
offensive. He'd be a great offensive lineman.
that dude has impeccable footwork.
Like he needs to be like a tackle for sure. I mean, he'd have to put on substantial weight.
I want to see Luka Doncic try to play in the NFL.
He also would probably have to be an offensive lineman though.
He would. He's so chubby and slow, but like
He also
also
is so
super
so
quick.
slow, but also is like
No, you know what Luka should be?
he is super quick. You're right. He's like
Luka
has
should
that,
be like Kyle Juszczyk. He's a fullback. Get
but
him
he's
out in the
so
flat,
tall. He's
twitch
so
around a guy.
tall.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe
See,
like an
yeah,
H
like
back. Maybe
it's
like a
tough for the
slot.
NBA.
Maybe like an H back. Maybe like a
It's
tight
almost
end.
like
You have to play
when
tight
you're.
end. I
It's
think.
almost like when we're talking about professional sports. These dudes are like highly specialized athletes, and
Yeah.
their body types have sent them specifically to the sport that they should
Well,
play.
for sure, because there's some NFL players absolutely could not play in NBA, and these are elite. Like Emmitt Smith's not playing in NBA. He's 5'9", 209
Yeah,
pounds, and is
Russell
playing
Wilson
weight.
is not playing in the NBA.
Yeah, Drew Brees is not playing in the NBA. But at the same time, you know,
No, you know what the funniest thing
I mean,
to
Kyrie
see?
Irving could play like he could probably play quarterback in the NFL. I would say like Kyrie Irving could probably play quarterback.
Do you
Allen
think he has
Iverson could have
the
played
arm?
quarterback.
How do you have any idea what his arm
Not
strength
probably.
is?
I know Allen Iverson could have been a great NFL quarterback because he was a great high school quarterback and was like recruited out of like Virginia to play
Yeah,
quarterback.
he wouldn't
He
have
was
been
like
a
Michael
great
Vick
NFL
before Michael
quarterback.
Vick. What?
What are you talking about? Just because he was good in high school doesn't mean he would make a great. Do you know how hard
No,
it
I'm
is to
saying
be a
like
great NFL quarterback?
I'm telling you, he was Michael Vick before Michael Vick. I've
And
seen
Michael Vick,
they went to like they're from
by
the
a lot
same
of
area.
arguments, was not a great NFL quarterback.
No, would disagree. I would disagree. There's no Michael Vick slander on this side of the podcast. So
I'm not slandering it, but the word great, I wouldn't throw that around with Michael Vick. He was really fun.
okay, he was a great college quarterback for sure, no doubt about it.
Yeah, dude. Iverson's 6'1", 165.
Yeah, but I mean, he was a dual threat quarterback.
He was a one threat quarterback. It was his legs.
I mean, no, he could throw the ball. What's Michael Vick?
Anyway, Matt.
6
Michael
foot.
Vick is probably 6'1",
He's listed as
6'1",
6 foot.
205.
Let's see, 6 foot 210.
Yeah. He weighs 40 pounds, 45 pounds more than Allen Iverson.
Yes, but Allen Iverson focused on basketball. I'm saying like if he had focused on football, you have to put on weight because you have to take hits.
Yeah, he doesn't have
You're
the
not
same
gonna
body
play.
type as
You're not
Michael
gonna
Vick, though.
play at
No,
basketball.
you're not going to sit here and argue with me that just because he was good in high school, he would have
Oh,
been a great NFL
after the
quarterback.
podcast, you go watch Allen Iverson high school highlights.
I'm gonna send you just hours and hours of high school highlights of kids that dominate high school that don't even like kid on the field in college. I'm gonna send you Sam McGuffey highlights,
Listen,
and then
you
you
will
can.
never. I will never disparage Allen Iverson on this podcast. That's a crazy stance, Joe, to take, but you can be the anti AI
I
if you
just
want
think
to.
you're ridiculous to say Allen Iverson would have made a great NFL quarterback.
I do if he would have focused on it, not
No,
coming out, not leaving the 76ers and picking up a football.
no,
But if
he
you
was meant
focus
to
on
play
just
basketball.
like you said, it's highly specialized, which means you're putting on weight, you're practicing your craft, you're doing all things that NFL players do and NBA players do in the off season to specialize at their craft. I just believe athletes are athletes.
Was Greg McElroy a great NFL quarterback?
Who?
Greg McElroy, was he a great NFL quarterback?
Great NFL? No.
Was real quick, was Vince Young a great NFL quarterback?
Oh, he was rookie of the year.
But was he a great NFL quarterback?
Well,
I mean,
great is
was
subjective.
he better or worse than Allen Iverson in high school?
I would probably say he was better,
Yeah.
but
Was he bigger or
he's
smaller
also
than Allen
way bigger.
Iverson?
He's also way bigger. He's like 6'5" or
And
something like that,
faster.
and faster. Vince Young, a freak of nature.
And literally every skill that Allen Iverson had as a quarterback, Vince Young had it better. Did Vince Young really win Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I think so. I don't even won rookie of the year. He was a Pro Bowler. RG3 won rookie of the year.
So funny that he's like fat now.
Was RG3 a great quarterback?
Was he a great NFL quarterback? No. He had a great season.
See, RG3, I think, it's just like a tragic tale.
He did win Rookie of the Year. You're right. Yeah.
But like, Vince did?
Yes.
Okay. RG3 could have been a great quarterback, I think, if there weren't other mitigating factors in his career to start. Injuries, where he was drafted, team he was drafted to, things like that. So, and I believe that. There's nothing you say
Anyway.
can convince me that it's not true.
You know what RG3 was really good at though?
What's that?
He could hustle.
He could hustle. And that reminds me, Joe. This podcast is brought to you by our friends at Charlie Hustle Clothing Company. Charlie Hustle is a vintage inspired clothing company based out of Kansas City, Missouri that specializes in collegiate and hometown apparel. Charlie Hustle wants you to be the best dressed fan this season, so be sure to check out their wide selection of officially licensed collegiate apparel today and show off your school spirit all season long and off season. With over 30 schools to choose from, they got you covered with all of your collegiate apparel needs. Shop today at charliehustle.com. Charlie Hustle, vintage made fresh. And make sure you use promo code 101215, which is good for 15% off all non-sale items. That's TEN1215 for 15% off non-sale items. They had a great sale this week too, Joe. They had it's like $20 t-shirts. And I went to go get one of those Baylor $20 t-shirts. They didn't have my size, so I couldn't get one. So
They're selling like hotcakes.
sound like hotcakes. They all out of XL. So there you go.
Oh, Mr. Skinny Man now.
Well, I don't know if I'd call XL skinny, but thank you, sir. Let's see. What else we got?
Well, we
Oh
talked about
yeah.
Arizona last week.
So did you want to mention the latest Baylor recruit before we move on to our preview or transfer, I should say?
Which one is the question, Matt?
The football is what I was talking about.
Because basketball might be more exciting.
basketball. Well, the basketball recruit is more exciting, just from a fully standpoint. So why don't you? Are you prepared to talk about the basketball recruit?
Well, yeah, we can talk about Norchad Omier. I'm probably not pronouncing his
See,
name
I was
correctly, but
confused, or not confused, but I was questioning. Like, I don't really know how to pronounce his last name because is it Omier? I don't. I so like I'm
he's
because
Nicaraguan.
he's from
That is
Nicaragua.
that is
Yeah,
what I
yeah. So like that's why I was like, I don't know the correct pronunciation for his name,
all ACC player.
but I've heard
Averaged a
I've heard Omier or Omier.
Omier. Got it.
I don't know.
Um,
Don't listen to
but
me.
he's former All ACC player from Miami. Started his career at Arkansas State, transferred to Miami. Now he's transferred to Baylor. Went to a Final Four with Miami. He was their leading scorer last year. I believe averaged a double double, like 17 points. I think he averaged last year in the
Well, he's
ACC.
like a double machine.
He is he's 6'7". So my thought is he's probably going to cut, and he's a 4. So we're probably going to see him play some small ball with us too.
He's like a
Um,
4.5 probably. Don't you think?
yeah,
Definitely
like
a 4, but he'll be like. I mean, yeah.
yeah, I could see scenarios because we have Jeremy Roach now that transfers in from Duke at the guard. You got VJ Edgecombe who's a guard. You got Langston Love. Like so I could see plenty of combinations where there's 4 guard
Small
sets
ball,
with him and we're
small
playing small ball.
for sure, for sure.
And you think of the old the Fievel combo as it was called in 2021 where Mark Vital would play the center
Yeah,
surrounded by 4
yeah,
guards.
because we do have elite guards, in my opinion.
So I'm super excited about what he brings to the table. Huge pickup. They got another guy in today, and I completely forgot his name. He's from Cal.
Jalen
Um,
Celestine, Jalen Celestine from Cal. He
there you
was,
go. Yes, Celestine.
he was,
Um,
he was,
don't know a whole
he
bunch about him
visited.
yet because I only saw that right before we started recording.
He has super similar numbers coming from Cal as Jalen Bridges did coming from West Virginia. About
Gotcha.
8 points a game. It's very similar if you look at his numbers. They're almost like carbon copy from what he did at West Virginia to what he Celestine did at Cal. I think he's a grad transfer, I believe. But and you see what Bridges did when he got under Scott Drew and the Baylor program and how his offensive production increased year over year. So um I would be pretty because I believe his first year Jalen went from like 8 point something points per game in West Virginia to like 12 points per game at Baylor. So I would expect to see the same type of progression with Celestine. He hasn't, I don't think he's committed. He visited, right? But things are trending in that direction.
Oh, is he not? Okay, I had seen rumblings about him. I had assumed he had joined already.
But I think he is on campus. I haven't seen anything official,
Gotcha.
but things are trending in that
So he's
direction from,
visiting right now. Got it.
yes, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think that's it's a safe assumption, I think, at this point. But yeah, it's not official.
But
But
Omie,
yeah, OVA, that is. And
he
like I
was one
said,
of the top 5 guys like in the transfer portal.
and
So
I love the additions too, because you have like Roach and Omie, where it's like Omier? I don't know. Where it's like
we'll see it when the media guide comes out.
it's you have guys who have performed at a high level and have Final Four experience. So you're bringing in guys with like tournament experience at the deepest level, and that's what you want um on your team
Well,
for sure.
yeah, and you're talking about guys that have been coached at a high level.
Yeah,
That
both of them
by all
ACC
accounts,
guys
these
from
are like
like
team player level
and
dudes.
you're coming from like very competitive conferences in basketball, from the ACC
Yes.
to the Big 12, which is also a competitive conference. But these guys have played basketball at the highest level against the highest competition.
Yeah, you think of a guy like Jeremy Roach, like the fog is not going to bother him. He has played in like Duke UNC games.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
And then you talk about like the experience he has like in tournament as well. So like those type of environments aren't going to phase him because he's played a ton of tournament games, and like you said, he's played in very hostile environments going to Chapel Hill.
Yeah, in very meaningful games, like
Yes.
regular season games that mean as much as
Conference
tournament games to
championship
these
games,
people.
conference tournaments. I mean, it's like, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, these are huge pickups. Tell me about football.
So he picked up a much needed offensive line commitment from Colton Thomason. He's formerly from Texas A&M. He was a 2023 recruit out of high school. He is 6'8", 320. He only appeared in 2 games last year. So he was redshirted, so he has 4 years of eligibility. So, and from what I understand, he's going to start off at
And
tackle.
I, from what I've seen, this is a future recruit. Like
Yeah, I mean,
this is a come in and
no, yeah,
compete for the
for
job today, but your best years are ahead of you.
yeah, and that's what like I was about to say. Like I've heard he's going to start at tackle. It wouldn't surprise me if he did end up starting sometime during the year inside. So
Just
like,
to get some reps.
well, I mean, I think he may if it after he gets some like coaching and reps, you know, because the goal with offensive line, I think, I mean, we both know this is like you want your best five out there.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, he's going to end up being one of the best five, just because like you texted me, like he's a former 4-star guy. This isn't like, I mean, coming from an SEC program, I mean, so like this is a legit recruit, and there, I mean, there's a change at Texas A&M, change of coaching, guys who recruited him aren't there anymore. So I understand by going into the portal. And so like, yeah. But you're right. This is for a future recruit. This isn't like someone you're like he's gonna come in and immediately just you can pencil him in as a starter. Like some
Yeah.
of the other like the nose tackle recruit from Texas Southern that we got, that's the type of like last week.
Yeah, those are hired guns.
No,
Like you're bringing
Noel,
them in to fill
that
holes that you
guy,
got right now.
yeah, that guy you're penciling like he's a starting nose tackle for sure. This is a different, situation just because he has so much eligibility and he's still young. He's played 1 year of college football and he only played 2 games. So yeah, for sure. But that's what we need. We need help on offensive line. I would like to have another like probably 2 offensive linemen and for my sanity, another defensive lineman just to feel good about going into fall camp. Honestly.
Yeah, I would really like just beef. Just give me
Yeah.
big
Well, this is
big
our
tough
what
dudes.
third transfer portal lineman we've added because we had Kurt Daniker from Ohio, and then Omar. I'm gonna butcher his last name, Agbedion from Montana State. We're done in the fall window, and then you have Colton Thomason who was added in the spring window. So we need. I mean, we need. Everyone said it, and you don't have to be a great analyst of college football to understand this. Baylor needs help on the offensive line. Offensive line was not good last year.
They
And
need
they need help
hog
on the defensive line.
mollies.
They need help on the defensive line as well. It was also not good last year. So, and I think we've addressed that in some ways. We've added. It didn't help that we had two of our our two deep nose tackles both medically retire before spring practice kind of like started, and then so yeah. But we've added a couple of edge rushers in like Steve Linton and Jacquez Evans and Noel from Texas Southern. So like we're trying to add pieces on both lines. And I think if you listen to Dave Aranda, that's kind of their focus going into the portal was they need help on the line of scrimmage, both sides. So
Yeah,
I like that. I
what I
like the
want
pickup.
is I want speed in the small positions and bigness in the big
And that's
positions.
what they did with
That's what I really want.
Ashton Hawkins and Bell from Nevada. Those both guys are both speed. And they're like slot, maybe a little outside receiver. Mostly they're small slot receivers. To add with Monterey Baldwin, who's also a speed guy. So I mean, we've added the speed. we need to add the beef, so to speak.
Yeah. The beef. The beef, Matthew.
All right, Joe. Like you mentioned, we're continuing our preview series. This week it's another new member, new, because we have some new members, but these are new members. Uh, Arizona State Sun Devils. Did you do research this week like you did last week?
I
Are you
did.
are you
It's just
prepared?
I am. It's just such a terrible organization that is Arizona State University. The the one school that felt like they were excited about whatever George Kliavkoff was pitching in those
Oh no,
Pac-12 meetings.
they were so horrible. Like I think everyone got fired. I know the AD who was like talking out of his mouth got fired
Yeah.
about going to like Morgantown or whatever.
Do you
He
remember last year when we were in the heart of all the realignment talk and it was like we were all following Jason Shear like every word that he said every minute of every day. And then randomly the AD for Arizona State calls a press conference and we're all freaking out and then he just did it because he wanted to talk about their stadium naming rights deal.
Yeah, and then like didn't he also say something about he had some crazy idea or crazy announcement about how he was excited about the Pac-12 deal because of like being
Well,
on
that
the
was their school president.
school president. Okay.
Yeah, that said he was like it was going to give fans the opportunity to watch games at their own
Well,
pace or
no,
whatever.
but
Like they
also
could
he was
watch
like, it's cutting edge
it later.
technology,
They
the
could,
internet,
yeah.
games on the internet.
It's like you can pause
I
TV.
mean, think about this. Like, this is like science fiction stuff here.
It's like if you put it on a VHS, but in real time.
I mean, that was wild stuff. Arizona State, you're right. Arizona State just had some wild press conferences and
But yes, Matt, to answer
quotes.
your question, I did do my research. I'll give you a quick rundown on what this team was last year.
Okay.
Um, maybe one of the few teams that we're going to talk about that legitimately had a worse season than Baylor last season. 3-9. First year head coach Kenny Dillingham came in his first season ever as a head coach anywhere outside of the high school level. Um, and I think even in high school, he was only the head coach for 1 or 2 years. And then he ended up bouncing around in a bunch of different colleges. Was at Florida State,
I don't think he was
Auburn,
ever the head
and
coach. I think he was just offensive coordinator.
yeah, he was. Well, that's what I mean. He was offensive coordinators at all these places
Yeah.
because this is the first time he's ever been a head coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was at Oregon as their offensive coordinator before he comes to town. The only schools they beat last season were Southern Utah, um, and they only did that by 3 points at home. They did beat Washington State by 11. Again at home, and they won in the Rose Bowl, not in the game, the building,
Okay.
against UCLA,
Yeah, they
17 to
weren't in the
7.
Rose Bowl. No.
Yeah, they were in the Rose Bowl, but it wasn't the Rose
Not
Bowl.
the Rose Bowl. They were
Yeah,
in
they were in the Rose Bowl.
yeah.
Uh,
They played
back when
in
back
the
when
Rose
bowl
Bowl.
games were named after the stadiums that they were in. Anyway, so this was not a good football team last year. Their leading passer, and it's you and I kind of joking before this. Like you were talking about all the guys that transferred. They had like a 5-star quarterback on campus. He gone. Their leading passer from last year was Trenton Bourget. He had 1,486 yards passing. He does come back this year, Matt. But according to some of the stuff that I've read, is not projected to be the starter this year. The starter is projected to be a guy named Sam Levitt, who is a redshirt freshman transfer from Michigan State. They do return their leading rusher. Cameron Scatabo is his name. He rushed for a whole 783 yards last year. They do not return their leading receiver, Elijah Badger. He had 713. They do return, Matt, their leading tackler. And I want there's this like there's a theme here is like all of their leading stats are about half of what you would expect. So 1,400, 780, and 713 on the offensive side. Their leading tackler last year, a guy named Shamari Simmons, had 73 tackles. That was their leading tackler. That's an insanely low number. Matt,
73 tack. Okay.
what position do you think he played?
Okay. The way you've housed this question makes me think it's the last possible person who could make a tackle. So I'm gonna go with a safety.
Yes, the free safety, not strong, free safety, leading tackler with 73 last year. Horrid. Their
That
leading
is horrid.
interception man was
73
Trey
is a
Brown.
73 is a horrible number for leading tackler.
Yes, yes. Um, so yeah, it's bad. They only rushed 1,300 yards total as a team last year. They only had 2,500 total receiving yards. From all of their receivers combined, 2,500. Like their offense was not good. Now, Dillingham is supposed to be an offensive guru. That was his first year. It's probably going to count as a year zero. We'll see what he does as he brings his guys in and builds his system. But again, he is what did we say? Is he 34 years old? Is that what you were telling
30,
me before
30,
we started this, Matt?
34 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, 34 when you looked at it. He's not experienced, so we'll see what happens. He is an Arizona State alum. They love him there. But really not a great team. And when I look at the projected, there's a projected stuff they've got going on. It's not like they've got a ton of
Yeah.
offensive transfers that make you excited. They've got 3 guys that are transferring in
Yeah.
projected to start at left tackle, tight end, and quarterback.
He just turned 34 too. He was born April 28th, 1990.
So yeah, Matt, as of right now, not expecting a lot from Arizona State, and I might even and me doing this means that they're going to end up winning 9 games like we did with West Virginia last year. But I may end up with my vote this year picking them to
I don't
finish
know,
last in the
man.
conference.
Yeah, let's run through it. Okay. Do you have their schedule pulled up?
I do have their schedule pulled
So
up.
like what I was saying earlier is like I don't like the general structure of it. And that's just my personal opinion about where their bye weeks are. But let's run through it. All right. Want me to kick it off?
You kick it off.
All right. So they start off with Wyoming. Now, I picked an upset and I was correct last year, Wyoming, but they've had a coaching change. Craig Bowl, he retired. So they have a new coach at Wyoming, new head coach there. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with this is an Arizona State win to start off the season in Tempe and win over the Wyoming Cowboys.
I'm going to go Wyoming.
Okay. And before we move on, let me pull up my document.
You didn't already have it up. Wow, people.
Let me pull up my document here. Okay.
As I take a drink of water.
All right.
As you pull up your document, I'll give the people Saturday, September 7th, next game. So they get again at home, they welcome the Mississippi State Bulldogs. An SEC West team comes to town. What are you thinking, Matt?
Mississippi State for sure. They weren't great last year either, but they're an SEC school and they're better than Arizona State last year.
They're better than Arizona State.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going Mississippi State. All right. Next, they travel to San Marcos, Texas, take on the Texas State Bobcats. Man, I kind of like what GJ's cooking down there. I wanna go with Texas State.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going with Texas State. That's what I'm going with. I think Texas State beats them, upsets them. I'm gonna say upset because it's a group of 5, Power 5, or Power 4. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Bobcats there.
Yeah,
do you
Texas
got?
State, they ended up going, 8-5 last year.
I mean, yeah, they made a bowl.
They made a bowl game. 4-4 in the Fun Belt. Yeah, you know what? Let's say the bottom falls out. I'll go Texas State on this too.
All right. Who's next?
All right. They come back to the state of Texas, back-to-back road games at Texas Tech. I'm taking Tech.
I agree with you. I'm taking Tech as well.
You know, I'm switching my Wyoming pick. I'm gonna agree with you on the Wyoming game now. Because I don't think they're gonna go 0-4. 'Cause I don't know. I got to give them a win. I don't see where one's coming.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give them a win. I mean, I agree. I mean, that's why I went with Wild to start off with a win. So, okay. So now they have their first bye or the first off week um at the end of September before they head or not head before they welcome Kansas Jayhawks to Tempe. I think this is a Kansas win.
Yeah, it's a Kansas win for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 100% on that.
Yeah.
All right, so they had back-to-back road games and they have back-to-back home games, which is a bit of a theme. To just see here. And they welcome the Utah Utes, and I have no qualms about picking Utah to win this game.
Oh no, this is Utah. Utah's probably the best team in the Big 12 going into the season, I would think. Them
Yeah,
or
I would agree.
Arizona. Them or Arizona are the best team heading into the season, at least. But yeah, I have no issue just jumping right on the Utah Utes bandwagon. All right. They go on the road to Nippert Stadium, Cincinnati. Um, I don't think Cincinnati is gonna be very good again this year. I'm not a believer in what they got cooking over there, and so I'm gonna go with Arizona State's gonna get their next win.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you here. I think we're going to be on the same page. Yep. Cincinnati win. Or sorry, Arizona State beats Cincinnati.
All right. And here's why I don't like they didn't have immediately have another bye after 3 games. The reason I don't like it is it sets up like a backloaded schedule.
Also, it's road game, off week road game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is where their schedule is fun because it's home, home, away, away, home, away, away, home, away, home, away. But yes, they do get their bye week right after the Cincinnati game. They go back on the road to Oklahoma and they're heading to Stillwater to play Oklahoma State. I think they lose this game. I think Oklahoma State
Yeah.
beats the crap out of them.
This is Oklahoma. The back this section of their schedule is not great
No,
for Arizona State. I agree. Oklahoma State for sure.
there's not really any good part of their schedule
No, no, no.
because they're not good.
This is the worst part of a bad schedule, in my opinion. All right.
What's
After that, they get a home game. They welcome in UCF. I mentioned last week that I'm probably pretty high. I'm pretty bullish on UCF. I think this is a UCF win in Arizona.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you.
Yeah.
I think Malzahn will. Will win this game.
Yeah.
Okay. Head back out on the road. This time heading to Kansas to go face off against the Snyder Cats of Kansas State. Matt, what do you think?
This is Kansas State. I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, Arizona State's not going to win at Kansas State. Okay. So we're in agreement there.
Yeah. Now, next, they get another home game. Seems like I've had all the home games. They welcome in BYU. And I think we mentioned last week, like, I don't think BYU is going to be very good either this year. So I'm going to go with Arizona State again. I think they can defeat the Cougars at home.
I do too. I think this is it's late in the year. I think BYU might be having a little bit of a disappointing season, and I could see Arizona State just stealing one here. And so I'm gonna agree with you. Arizona State wins this one.
All right, let's wrap it up.
All right, Matt.
I think
In Tucson,
we already picked
at
this
Arizona. Give me the name of the rivalry, Matt.
the Territorial Cup.
The Territorial Cup. We already picked this one last week. We both picked Arizona.
Yeah. Ended anticlimactically because we already picked that game. But yes.
But yeah.
So
yeah.
what we got? You have
What?
let me change your first one. You change it to ASU. So you have ASU
We got
going
the wins that we picked were Wyoming, Cincinnati,
and BYU.
and BYU. So
we have
another
them going
3-9 season.
another 3-9 season. I don't know if that saves Kenny Dillingham. Not that he's on the hot seat, but I don't know if you keep your job at multiple 3-9s to
Yeah,
start
he
off. To
would. He'll
start
get
off,
4 years. He'll get 4 years there.
you think so?
It,
To
Matt,
this
they
day and
don't give a
age,
shit. They don't give a shit.
yeah, but they're not good at any other sport right now.
Yeah, but they don't care about sports.
They don't have money, right? Aren't they like?
No.
Aren't
Yeah, they don't have
struck-
money to fire a guy. They're broke.
All right, so there you go. We both have them going 3-9. Pretty much, it's the same. We had the same picks.
Yeah, I think we were 100%.
We were 100% in unison. Nothing different. So sorry, Arizona State. Another 3-9 coming your way. So, and unfortunately, you don't have anything else to look forward to. At least with Baylor, like we could say, we were 3-9, but we did have a good basketball team. Two good basketball teams to look forward to. I don't know if they can say the same thing. So
Yeah, maybe
at
they're
least,
good
at least you're in Tempe. So
yeah, maybe they're good at like water polo or
go
something.
play golf. You know, there's good golf courses out there. All right, Joe. We went through that.
We made our picks, Matt.
Made our picks. Why don't you tell the people
Now it's
they
time.
can make picks?
You guys can make picks with our wonderful 10-12 sponsors. Prize Picks, everybody. The best legal way to play daily fantasy on player props all across the country. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. All you have to do is select 2 to 5 players and an over-under on a projected stat line, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry. It's fast, it's easy, and entries can be made in as little as 60 seconds. They offer tons of sports. NHL playoffs are going on right now. In fact, that's what I'm watching in the background is the Avs and the Stars. Go Avs. So you got NHL, NBA playoffs are going on. Soccer's in full swing. Baseball's in full swing. Go check it out. Use promo code BEAR12, that's BEAR12, and you can get an instant 100% deposit match of up to $100. That's right, promo code BEAR12, and you can instantly get a full $100 match on your first deposit. Prize Picks is available online and in the App Store or on Google Play, so go check them out.
Yeah, I'm also watching the Av Stars in the background, but I have like a multi-view, so I'm also watching the Thunder Mavs at the same time. So great time to be a Dallas sports fan. So
Is
Joe,
because you're down 1-0 against my Avs.
yeah, but we're up in the game 55-41. So but
You were
it's
up
playoff.
You were up 3.
How did the
3-0.
Rockets do in the playoffs?
I don't care about the Rockets.
You don't have a hockey team in Houston. What are you talking about?
I've been rooting for the Avs since 1996, my friend.
Likely
I
story.
don't need a hockey team.
I can't corroborate that. I have to take your word for it.
My dad went on a business trip to Denver in 1996, which was the first season after they moved from Quebec, all right, to Denver. And he went to a game, brought me back an Avs hockey puck, like a branded one. And so I started watching hockey that year, and we would watch them when they were like on ESPN or NBC. I think it was NBC that year. And they were always on NBC because they were really, really good. And they ended up winning the Stanley Cup. They had Joe Sakic, Patrick Roy, Adam Foote, Peter Forsberg. Really, really badass team. Won the Stanley Cup then, and they won it in 2001 again. So really fun run when I was younger that I watched a lot of hockey. But yeah, always been an Avs fan, man.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Well, besides the Avs, Joe, what else have you been watching? I know you went to the theater to see Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I saw Phantom Menace. Terrible movie as always. I forgot how good pod racing was, and you have to see pod racing in a theater. Oh my god, it was pod racing was elite. That was worth the ticket.
What?
That was worth the price of admission.
So I didn't go to the theater to see it. I did watch it on ESPN Plus, and I was surprised that how racist this movie is.
Yeah, oh yeah, it is very racist.
It's like Jar Jar to like I forgot their names, the Trade Federation
Watto?
folks. Watto. Anyway, I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna say anything. But and then the Trade Federation, like totally like Japanese like stereotypes. Even the way they
Yeah.
talk,
Yeah, and
it's
the,
just
the
wild.
acting is
Or
terrible. The
I should
directing
say
is
Japanese,
terrible. It's
Asian stereotypes for sure. But yeah,
it
it's
is
I,
a horrendous movie
how
with
this movie
two
get
amazing
made.
scenes and one really good performance.
Yeah, and there's a great score. So it's like
Yes.
as a
Great
great
music.
score. Yeah, great
Liam
music.
Neeson is awesome.
As always. Darth Maul's awesome. Shout out Ray Park.
Uh,
Uh, even
Pod
Ewan's
Racing is
great.
amazing, and Duel of the Fates.
I mean, Ewan's great. The little Lloyd kid, whatever. Not a fan, but whatever.
Not his fault. He was 8.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Padme's a little bit of a pedophile, but whatever, you know. She was 8. They ended up having children. It's a whole weird situation going on with Star Wars, right?
There were multiple times where there were not. I don't know if there was anybody else in the theater with us when we went to see it, but because we saw it late on Friday night last week, and there were multiple times where my wife and I leaned over to each other and just made the comment like that was the take, like that's the one they picked. That was
Oh, for
the
sure.
that was the best exchange of dialogue that they had on film that they took. Like, did they just do this in one take and go? Because there's so many times in that movie where it's like,
Not this
the
movie though,
acting looks so amateur.
but also it's like this is a theme throughout the prequels.
Yes.
I mean, I love Hayden Christensen. He's a better actor than what they got out of him in this, other prequel films that he was in. And because
Yeah,
we've
it's
both
almost like the
seen him do
directing
better
they
work.
got was
We've seen him do better work, and we're like,
yeah.
this is just what's going on here? I know you're better than this. So I was like, yeah, it's like
But yeah.
George was like, was he directing this? Did George Lucas direct this?
Yes.
So he's like mailing
Yes.
it in. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what was going on in whenever these are filmed, but we had issues from the jump, and we're on record.
I think they were more focused on the technology than anything else. Like that's really what it was.
Yeah,
They
but
were like,
this
"Oh,
was
CGI
19, like
exists now."
this is like late 90s, right? So it's like
Yep.
I
And
mean,
they were
looking at
excited
it,
about the technology they had that they
looking at
didn't
it,
have in the 70s.
yeah, but looking back at it from 2024 is like it wasn't that great. Now,
Oh no, it
again,
was the worst time to use CGI.
I'm looking at it from a 2024 lens to like 1999 or whatever it was. So it's like I'm like, well, this is not good CGI. We've seen way better. Like we've de-aged people. Like we
Yeah.
made Samuel L. Jackson look like he was
Well, I mean,
30 years old.
we had Jurassic Park.
Oh, true. Which is way
Anyway,
better CGI. And that was what,
yeah,
95?
95 or 96, yeah.
So like this is after Jurassic Park and worse CGI. Because you watch Jurassic Park, you're like, I think there's a dinosaur there. I think they
Yeah,
got a
that's a real
dinosaur.
dinosaur.
I think they got a dinosaur in the movie. You watch Phantom Menace and you're like, but this is a computer. In fact, I've played video games with better graphics.
This
In
is
1999.
this is Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, this is like I think Super Mario World's better graphics wise. Anyway, I could go on and talk bad about the prequels, but I'm not here for that. Anything else that you watched or are watching in the middle of anything like that this week?
In the middle of Clarkson's Farm. And I picked up the game Hades and have been playing a lot of that this week.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. If you haven't played it before, you should play it. It's on like everything. So
Okay. Okay, I have not been
stupid fun game.
watching anything still besides like sports.
Yeah, I've just mostly been watching hockey.
Yeah, I've been watching basketball and
Playoff
hockey.
hockey's fun. So
I've been watching playoff basketball. I've also been watching playoff hockey, but just most of the stars. But yeah, I've been watching. That's what I've been watching, and Today I watched a TikTok stream of a Taylor Swift concert, so I did that. Did it again. Now it's a bit, Joe. I'm just like I'm gonna find a way to get Taylor Swift into every podcast.
That's it.
So
We're done. Matt, where can the people find you?
follow me on Twitter at Matt_Workman. Uh, you can also find me on Blue Sky. I'm
Blue
I'm I'm
Sky.
trying to I'm trying to branch out from like Twitter. I've decided like I got to make a change. We as a society have to make a change to
Yeah,
another
I'm like never
platform
on Twitter anymore, really.
and to another platform. So it's like if we all move over to Blue Sky or Threads or whatever, then we can keep going doing what we were doing before Voldemort took over.
Brainworms and stuff.
Yeah, so like that's what we should do. But anyway, that's where you can find
Anyway,
me. Joe, where do
you
people find
can,
you?
yeah, you can find me on Twitter at the_Joe_Goodman. Hit me up. I'll reply to you if you ping me. And then also come check us out in the Wide Right Natty Light Discord, the 1012 Network channel. We are in there, so tag us, and we'll love to chat with you there too.
Yeah, also the we're both pretty active, or you're less so nowadays, or like this time of year on the ODB Discord. I've been in there a little bit. Mostly I read because we have
Yeah, I'm a
high
lurker.
level
I hop in
there's
there when I
high
see
level
like
posters though,
notifications.
because we have like CBS Sports College Football Insider posting in the ODB Discord. So like you get some high level content for free. So go
Yeah,
for it.
access. That's what it's all about.
Yep, yep, yep.
Anyway, Matt, hope you have a good weekend. But
You as
as
well.
always,
Oh, it's also before we go,
oh,
I
it's
would like
Mother's
to
Day.
say happy Mother's Day to all the
Don't forget.
mothers out there. It is Mother's Day weekend. Do something nice for your mother. Even if it's just having like lunch or brunch or whatever with your mother, do that. That's what I'm doing. So
Do it.
happy Mother's Day to all the moms
Do it.
out there, all the Baylor moms, all the Big 12 moms, everyone listening who's a mom. Happy Mother's Day. But until next time, Joe.
Mom, this is a pro mom podcast.
Pro
Pro mom.
moms. Pro moms.
Sick of bears.
Absolutely. Uh sick of moms, sick of bears.
Sick of moms.